All right, here we are. Another great webinar with Janet and Lindsey. We're going to give people a few minutes to get in here. I've been pumped for this. Looking forward to it. If you are joining us live, welcome. If you are listening to the recording later, welcome. If you're listening to the recording, go ahead in the comments below to just say who you are and what business you're from. We'd love for you to introduce yourself in the comments below on the recording. And as people come in live, we would love to have people come in, introduce yourself in the comment area and tell us your business. And welcome. We're going to give it a few more minutes, but we got a lot of stuff today. We are cooking today. So we're not going to wait too long. People can catch up as they get on here. So please say hello. If you are on YouTube, you have to log into YouTube in order to leave a comment or a question. If you're not, that's okay. Oh, there's Hope. Hope, welcome. Good to see you. Love it. We can always count on Hope to come to these. This is awesome. So we expect a few more live, but again, if you're watching the recording, in the comments below, go ahead and tell us who you are and where you're from so that when people come in and watch the recording, they will get to know you. So we got Hope from the Yarn Hub. Love it. Good to see you. All right, we're going to wait a couple more minutes, but we got so much going on. We're going to hit it. People can catch up later. We are doing this live, but we are keeping a recording. All right. Well, I've got a couple polls, but Lindsey, you know what? I'm going to wait and see if we get some more people live to do those polls because I think that would be fun. So welcome everybody to our latest webinar. There's nothing small about your business. We're going to talk about AI tools, skills, and systems to scale what you are already building in your business. So this isn't to replace you, replace anyone. This is to scale and leverage what you already have going on. And that's what's important. AI does not accelerate or accentuate something that's not already there. So I will quickly introduce myself. My name is Janet Hurn. I spent most of my career in higher education and developing online and hybrid courses. But now I work in the intersection of education, workforce, and business strategy. We like to sit in the middle there because there are people who need jobs. There are people who have jobs, and there are training organizations that want to train them up. We're trying to bring that all together in Future Ready Consulting. We also support small businesses all over the United States. So that is a little bit about me. And I wasn't going to be an AI and I wasn't going to be a guru, but here I am doing AI webinars. So that just worked out that way. We got more people coming in. Please leave your name and your business if you'd like to in the comments. You have to be logged into YouTube in order to do that. And again, if you're just watching the recording, in the comments below, introduce yourself. We'd love to know who you are, where you're coming from. So Lindsey, go ahead and introduce yourself, and then maybe I'll throw that poll up.
Okay. My name is Lindsey Newland. I'm from Southeast Iowa, and I run Not So Small Business. I worked for 20 plus years in the restaurant industry, and then I went back to school and got a graphic design and moved into website design then after I started my business. And also, just like Janet, just kept serving people and kept realizing that they needed not only help with their website to be able to look good online and things like that, but then they also wanted to know how to operate and how to change things on their own. So I create a lot of trainings, and I work with Janet, and we have for the last several years. So excited to be here and to be doing this kind of work.
Awesome. And we met as Grow with Google coaches for our prospective states with a project we did with Main Street America. That's how we met, and we've been friends ever since and working together, and we really enjoy this stuff. So we hope that spills over with all of you. We've got a few people on now. Don't forget to introduce yourself, but I'm going to throw a poll up, and if you could go ahead and answer our poll, that would be amazing. I have a couple questions for you. I just got to find it. So first poll here. I don't know how to put it up there. Oh, here we go. Here we go. All right, so there is our first question. Can you see that? All right, perfect. How are you using AI in your business today? I don't. Random questions like Google. I have some projects in GPTs and GEMs, and I have agents and more. I use it all the time. So go ahead and give us an answer to that poll. Love to know how you're using it. All right, we've got people dropping in, dropping out. That's cool. And again, if you are watching this recording, go ahead and drop your where you're at in the comments below. That'd be great. All right, I'm going to stop the poll. See what we got. All right, what do we got? My screen is so small. Did we get answers?
I don't see any.
I don't see any answers. All right, I'm gonna start another poll. And if you get a chance, go ahead and click on this poll. What's your favorite tool? Gemini, Claude, ChatGPT, or Copilot? And really, this should say, what's your favorite model? So,
what's your favorite one, Janet?
Right now, Claude is my go-to hard work and tool. What about you?
I honestly use ChatGPT the most, just because that's the one that I've been using. I haven't actually tried Claude. Gemini has some good, really awesome features, and using for different things. I've never used Copilot before, but yeah, ChatGPT would be, yeah. Hope says ChatGPT as well.
Yeah, Copilot is a no-go for me. It's the Microsoft product. I just don't even have time for that. I will say though, and we're going to talk about this chaining tools together. Mm-hmm. I use ChatGPT and Claude, probably Claude 60% of the time, ChatGPT 30% of the time, and Gemini and Perplexity I use also. So it depends on what I'm doing, and we'll point that out as we go. Like, what do we think the best tool for the job is? So we will go ahead and talk about that. All right. Well, we should just get hot and heavy into this, probably, don't you think?
Yeah, I would say so.
All right, take it away.
All right, so we're going to talk about the mirror moment. Using AI to kind of reflect back to you what let's see, let's find some words. Reflecting back what is already existing online, this is actually a really great way for you to kind of take a peek into what your customer can see about you from their perspective, and it allows you to kind of see, all right, well, what are people actually seeing about me online? What kinds of keywords, what are some opportunities? What are some blank spots that are, or some blind spots that are kind of lingering out there? So do you know what your customers actually see when they find you? Not what you think you put out there, because a lot of times when you are working in your business day to day, you think that you're saying things ad nauseum over and over again, but you're really not, or you're not saying it enough. And so what AI and your customers actually see. And so I actually did this for my own website. I was having a hard time with conversions, and I asked ChatGPT to crawl my website and see exactly where the opportunities were. And it basically told me that I have too many things, because I have coaching, I have design work, I have public speaking, I have all kinds of things on my website. And it said that the customer is most likely overwhelmed and not exactly sure what to do to move forward to hire me. And so I have yet to install all of those changes on my website, but it was a really good way for me to get that outside assessment. And because I think that, I'm a website designer and I do this every day, and I'm in marketing and things like that. And I do this for people as a living. But yet there were still some blind spots, and it was really good for me to get that review back on my own website. So that way it showed me some opportunities, so that way I could move forward and make some changes to really make a difference on that conversion rate.
That's awesome.
Running your business through an AI mirror honestly, have you ever Googled yourself? Have you ever Googled your business? And what kinds of things are coming up when you're in your search criteria, and what kinds of things can you do to change that to rank higher in Google? That would be filling out your descriptions, your product descriptions, with different keywords. That would be, if you have a YouTube channel, make sure that your YouTube description is optimized. And so that way that's going to rank as well. So when it comes to Google, what you really want to be thinking about is, what are people actually typing in the search bar when they come to look for your product or your service? And you want to be able to connect, you kind of reverse engineer what that customer is thinking about when they're going to that, they're taking action, putting certain different search criteria into that search bar. And are you actually matching with those things? So reviews, make sure, like, especially your Google, we're not exactly talking about Google business profile today, but
we always end up doing that.
We always end up doing that. Okay. We always
so
kind of circle back to the same base level. If you have a pyramid of marketing, responding to your reviews, using images. Are you refreshing your images on your Google business profile and things like that? Like Hope is here from Yarn Hub in Shelbyville, Kentucky. She has a yarn social once a month. And so are you putting up something about that yarn social, so that way, Google is seeing that there's active life there. So that way you'll rank a little bit higher for that.
Yep.
Good. Scanning your social profiles, your bios and your posts and things. Your Google business profile has a bio section. Basically all of your social profiles are going to have some sort of bio section. Your customer may not necessarily be coming to your social media profile and saying, I'm going to read the description. A lot of people don't. However, the computers do. So make sure that those are optimized. Okay. Ask AI to describe you. So what does your business do? What do you sound like? You can, what kind of person runs this business, that kind of thing. Just see what it says about you. And remember that it's not, a personal attack. It is a computer after all. What it's doing is it's just giving you data. It's giving you different points so that way you can improve how you look to your actual human customer.
Lindsey, that's what I like. That's what I like about it, is it's not a human. So, there's no bias. Like if you ask a friend, hey, look at my website and tell me about it. It doesn't matter what they say. You're going to be like, really? That's what you think? Then there's a whole, but it's unbiased. Say, you don't know my business. What's your first impression or something? And just know it's unbiased and don't take offense. And that way you and your friend can go have coffee later and not worry about it.
Yes, that is a good point. Yes. If you were ever looking for an objective opinion about your business, AI is where to go for it, because it is a computer. It's just giving you data points. That's it. It's not calling you ugly. We say that in our house a lot because we have 3 daughters. So when they were growing up, if you told them that their shoe was untied, they would get all offended. And I'm like, I'm not calling you ugly. I'm just telling you that your shoe is untied. That kind of thing.
I love that. Yep.
Auditing a competitor. So what are they saying, and what that you aren't? Are they using different keywords that you aren't, that you can kind of pull? And you could even give it a prompt that says, act like a marketing professional and do a competitor analysis and on such and such business. And so not only are you running your own business through a mirror, but you're also able to, it's kind of like a looking glass into someone else's business.
I love that.
So, so it might give you some competitive advantage, where if you have a business in your local area, or if there's somebody in the industry, like what are they doing that I'm not, and what are some opportunities? That's a good place to look for it as well.
I love that. One of the tools I do like to use, so ChatGPT, you could do this, Claude, you could do this, but I like to use Perplexity for research and this kind of thing, because Perplexity will look at Reddit. So you could actually ask it to look at Reddit threads and see what is the main, like pick your industry. So what is the main complaint of customers of website designers? and it will tell you what do people have a problem with, and then you make sure you address that on your website or your social, so that isn't a complaint that you will find with your customers. So that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. I actually had a client a few years ago. It was a roller skating company, and they were putting together a website. And what they had done is they had pulled all of the product descriptions from the actual products' websites, and they were all mismatched. And you went to this one, and it was like a one sentence, and you went to that one, and it had all these other details. And so what we did was we took all of the product descriptions and we loaded them so that way, and then we created a template. And so we put those product descriptions into that template, so that every time you clicked on one of their roller skates, it had this really comprehensive description of the roller skates. And there wasn't anybody else in the industry that was doing it that way. And it made them sound like they really, that they were, industry leaders, and that they understood their product and things like that. Not only from the visual, not only from the visual aspect, but then from, just the search criteria alone. All of that really helped their rankings.
Fantastic. So let's just sum up this real quick, and then we'll keep going. We got so much. This is so good.
Mm-hmm. So what the mirror reveals. So your business, those we talked about, visibility gaps, like just like my own website. What am I missing? Why is it not converting? That kind of thing. Messaging inconsistencies, keywords, unanswered reviews, that kind of thing. And then, as you can read, of course, your competitors, what they say that you don't, keywords that they rank for, maybe, and it kind of just shows you what the truth is about your own business, and gives you that competitive advantage against your competitors as well.
Absolutely. So do we have any questions about any of that so far before we go on? Feel free to put it in the comments there. Or if you're watching the recording, you feel free to ask questions. We'll monitor that after the webinar. So any questions, pop them in there. If you can't comment, it's probably because you're not logged into YouTube. Anything? Okay, cool. All right. Go, Lindsey, go.
All right. So process first, tools second. Janet, you said something to me this morning that I want you to touch on real quick about how did you change your mind on this concept? Process first, tools second.
Right. So thanks for that. So I was using my AI tools kind of as a one-off, almost like Google, but a little deeper. So I would say, hey, rewrite this email, or hey, do this research on this topic. Hey, look at this, look at that. So it was all one-off stuff, and the chats would continue. And there might be a whole string of chats to do a whole series of steps, but it was kind of one-off, and it was just the tool focused. I saw, I don't even remember who it was, but I saw a couple of people I follow on YouTube that made my brain blow up, that said, stop using AI as just a tool in your toolkit. Think about the processes in your business, and think of as all of these as part of your process of your business already. And I feel like that unlocks the whole piece of, I'm not sure I like AI. I don't want AI doing my business for me, et cetera, et cetera. It helps you realize you have the business you have. Look at your processes, look at your workflows, look at your daily life. And Lindsey's going to talk about this, and figure out how to make it better with AI, more efficient with AI. For example, Lindsey and I have been on a lot of projects lately, and we talked through what we wanted to highlight and show in this presentation. But we've been super busy. So guess what? AI made the slides for us. AI put everything in kind of order, told us what we might want to mention or not mention. But we had the core. We discussed the core. We put those notes in, and it did some slides for us. Lindsey is an amazing slide designer, but we both been on some really heavy projects lately. So I said, well, let's just let AI make our slides for us. So that's what we did, and it's stuff like that. So she's going to go into it a little more deeply. But thank you, Lindsey.
So one mistake that the small business owners make, you have too many tools with no foundation. AI doesn't know your business. Okay, so I want to wheel back to my wheelhouse. I want to talk about just, if you understand who is your customer? If you have those buyer personas, and we've, if you've worked with me at all as a coach or as a designer, you'll understand that we talk about buyer personas first, because that foundation level of like, it's your visuals and the way that you speak. And I'll give you an example in just a second. But when you feed that to your AI, it will bring back things that are actually applicable to your, if you've ever gone in and tried to talk to ChatGPT about something and it gave you some like really surface level, suggestion level kinds of things, but it didn't really know a whole lot about your business. You know about your business. So make sure that you're feeding your AI information about your business, your logo, your colors, your buyer persona, what kind of voice are you wanting to speak in? And that will really make a difference. The example that I was talking about was I designed a website for some clients, and they are entirely more brash than I am. And that is not an insult. That's just how they are. And they want their business, right? They want their personality and their their sarcasm, they want all their edginess, they want that all right out at the forefront. And that's how they plan on attracting the customers that they want in their business. They want people like them to purchase from them. And so I had a real difficult time with their website. And so I used AI a great deal and said, make this, push the limit on this, or make this more sarcastic or whatever. And when I delivered the product to them, they were astounded. They really loved their website, and it's done exactly what it was meant to do, was using that voice and that condescending tone, so to speak. And that's just how they wanted their brand to go. So with me, I'm far more reserved. I'm far more, a little bit more careful, and try to be really professional with people. So if I'm feeding or asking AI to write something for me, then me understanding what my own voice sounds like is going to really, or the voice that I want my customers to hear, is going to make a real big difference, and getting the actual verses that are going to be applicable to my business.
Yep.
Before you pick a tool, do this. All right, so list your most repeated weekly tasks. Be specific, like write Instagram captions, respond to inquiries, identifying the friction, which tasks take longest, feel hardest. I'll give you a really good example. I recently started managing a restaurant again. I got kind of sucked back into the restaurant industry. I was not planning on that, but here I am. I'm doing it. And
here you are again.
Yeah, my brother needed help with his restaurant, so I came and helped. One of the very first things that I noticed that we didn't have was any kind of food cost tracking, and we didn't have like labor tracking. And so I went in and I actually asked ChatGPT to create a spreadsheet for me that would actually do this, and it laid the entire thing out. And I got to look like a superstar restaurant manager. I showed up with this food cost manager, and he was like completely blown away. I had everything priced down to the ounce of the mustard that we put on the sandwich, and that stuff really does make a huge difference in your day-to-day operations. It also helps not to, when you're tracking those costs, then it helps you not be too emotional. So just the other day, he messaged me and said, we have to raise the prices because of course, our business is beef, and the prices on beef is increasing, and we have to raise prices. Well, I went ahead and returned to that food cost manager, and I showed him, hey, we're well within range. We're doing fine. We do not need to raise prices. And that was so that's another way that AI can help you reflect back to your own business on the costs of things and your margins and things. And it keeps that emotion out of your business, your day-to-day operations. So think about the things that you are like, you feel really emotional about in your business, and see what ChatGPT or any of the AI tools can help you reflect back and try to crunch those numbers and see if you really do need to be that emotional about whatever you're.
That's great. That's great advice. If you don't have a tool yet you're really married to, I would highly recommend you check out Claude. Claude is a workhorse right now. Claude is just killing it with some of the stuff, formatting documents, just mind blowing. Once you train it to your voice and your brand, it puts out documents in your brand. It's unbelievable. Claude actually made this slide deck, so it knew my brand colors. It threw in a couple of purple and I don't even remember the other color. And I said, that's not in the brand. And it said, you're absolutely right. And it changed to the orange. So you do have to push back on any of these. And that's why there's always got to be a human in the loop as you do this work. Push back, say you're wrong, and it will either push back on you or say, you know what, you were right. I was wrong and I will fix that. So, and it's not offended. So that's cool.
Paul has a question about, will the free versions of AI produce the results that we're talking about?
No. I mean, flat answer is no. I suggest you use the free ones to kick the tires and see which one you prefer for the type of work you're doing. But in the end, if you want the security, the privacy, the data control, and some of the higher level models, then you're going to end up paying for it, and it's worth every penny. The kind of things that Claude or ChatGPT does right now. I mean, slide deck. How long to make a 30 slide deck, Lindsey? Ish.
Oh, a whole day.
A whole day. Lindsey and I didn't have a whole day. So Claude did this in maybe 3 minutes, 4 minutes. But then it's not as good. I mean, I think if you want professional, like if I was doing this for a brand new client, like I would be spending the whole day on a slide deck. Don't hear that. To put some visuals up so that we could talk to you about AI, I think it's fine. And so and again, we were talking about this earlier. What's the ROI on that? So this took 3 or 4 minutes, but there's a but, Lindsey. I put it into Canva and hope I had to go through there. The fonts were too small. Some of the icons were ridiculous. So I did have to go back, and I probably spent an hour or so fixing all of that stuff. Still not as good as Lindsey's, but it was for the ROI and the projects we were working for, that's what we needed to do. And that's the kind of decisions you need to make. But the tools are worth the money if it gives you time back. Hope your time in your business is probably worth close to $100 an hour. So if you saved an hour, you just paid for a whole lot of ChatGPT or Claude. So
I will also comment on that too. I have never actually paid for any of the services that we're talking about. Janet is an avid user, but I do have to say that recently my husband he works for a big box department store and in the hardware department, and he's never been a manager before, and he's never managed a business. He's never any of that. And he really needed some support, kind of like administrative support. Well, he went ahead and paid for ChatGPT just for the first month to see how, I think it was $20 a month for ChatGPT is what it is. And he went ahead and paid for the premium service, and he's completely hooked. It has given him everything that he needed. And that also helps me because then he's not coming to me as often and asking me all these questions about what do I do, where do I go, like how do I talk to this person, and it's kind of doing that heavy lifting. So $20 a month is actually really reasonable for both of us. It helps me because it frees me up, and it also helps him because he gets the answers in real time that he's looking for.
Agreed. Hey, while we're getting some more questions, if there are any more, put the one task you repeat every week that you wish somebody else would do. It's important to your business, but you're sick of doing it. Put that in the chat, or if you're watching the recording, put it in the comments, and let's get some dialogue about what's the one thing in your business you do every week that, oh my gosh, if you could just hand that off, you would so do it. So do it.
I don't think AI is going to do my laundry.
What?
I don't think AI is going to do my laundry.
No, I wish it would too. I hate that. No, I agree 100% on All right. If you see some of those come in, either put them up there on the stage, Lindsey, or just share it, interrupt me. All right. So how do we get the most use out of this? And again, as you're talking about paying for potentially one of these, how do you get the most use out of this? And that's the same as if you're like, should I hire an employee? I don't know if I should hire an employee. They're going to cost me money. If you invest in an employee, if you invest in AI, train it once, use it forever. And that's what we're going to talk about today. This is the unlock that allows you to really leverage this to a whole new level that you wouldn't believe. For example, I don't know if Lindsey's husband has trained his ChatGPT on his big box store information, but if he hasn't, he could just train it on their mission, their vision, their brand colors, their if there's a management manual or something, he can load that in there. He can train it so that when he asks it questions, they'll be tailored to the business instead of every time going, I work here, answer for that business. Next day, I work here, answer for that business. You can do that, but that gets old. So we're going to talk about what skills are as far as AI is concerned. So an AI skill is like you're onboarding a new employee. What do you tell a new employee about your business if you have any? You train them once, you tell them your voice, your values, your processes, your standards, what you will and will not, what you will and will not accept. And then you have them practice, you maybe test it, put in a little test to see how it does. And then you have them, and you don't have to keep repeating that. You don't want an employee that you have to go up and go, hey, remember, we always do X, Y, Z. So here's what I want you to do. You would never do that. So it is saved instructions, stored content. If you have a certain way you like things output, you can put that in the instructions. And it's then your voice and your kind of story and values every single time you use it. Again, you have to push back sometimes. I didn't tell Claude, I didn't say change this color. I said, hey, purple's not in the brand color. What are you doing? I literally said that. And it went back and said, oh, you're right. Sorry. Let me go grab those brand colors again. And I didn't have to tell it the brand colors. It had it stored. So your skills library is a business asset. And it increases value over time because you can keep adding it. It's yours. Nobody else out there in the world has that skill that you're training for your AI tool. So your three core AI skills that you should build once you kind of settle on which one of these you want to do. And here's the beauty. If you build these skills in ChatGPT or Claude, or I think even Gemini, these files can go across. They're agnostic. So you can download a skill from ChatGPT and upload it into Claude, and it will still work in that environment. What does that unlock? That unlocks you not being tied to one of these tools for life. Like I had the same problem as Lindsey. I was in ChatGPT. I believed it. I loved it. It was great. I started playing with Claude, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is actually doing a better job. But I've got all my information in ChatGPT. So we started building skills to where we could upload the skill in any of the platforms and we could always reference it. So you should do 3 core AI skills to start off if you're going to start building skills. And what's beautiful is you can use the tool to build the skill. You can say, hey, ChatGPT, I want to build a skill around my voice. I want to build a task skill. I want to build an auto skill. And it will walk you through building the skill. So voice skills, your tone and style, words you always use, words you never use, brand colors, your styles and phrases, icon styles, phrase styles, your taglines, what's your elevator pitch. You can load that all in as a skill. Another place you can build something like this is in Notebook LM. You guys know I love Notebook LM. So you can use Notebook LM and you can put all the information about your business, your website, your social media handles, any documents you have, your SOPs, anything in the world you have about your business, and then ask Notebook LM to write a report all about your business, including your voice, your brand, blah, 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 blah. It'll do a document. Then you can download the document. You can upload that in one of these other tools and say, create a skill around this document. So there's ways to have AI help you build these. Next, you would want a task skill. So what are some specific things? And I don't know, Lindsey, if anybody's posted their job they want to give away yet.
Oh, yes. Hope says inventory management and accounting.
Ooh, okay. Inventory management, accounting. You may have to break those down into smaller tasks and have it do those individual tasks, but that's a perfect example. So you could upload your current inventory and your sales, and you could ask it to tell you trends, what's hot, what's not, what should I order more of. It would give you recommendations on your next order. You have to be the human in the loop that knows your business best and look at that and see if you agree. But man, that would save you a lot of time. So inventory, accounting, writing proposals. Just be careful with accounting. You don't want to upload your entire business money spreadsheet so that the world knows, unless you don't care. I mean, as long as you leave out bank account numbers and stuff, if you don't care until you're making millions, the world won't care either. Now, if you're making millions, let's have another conversation. But responding to inquiries, creating social captions, summarizing meetings. I have a skill. It's actually more than a skill. And we'll talk about this though. It's like a flow of skills. So if I have a meeting, Gemini keeps AI notes, right? Then it goes in, sees that there were notes made. It writes a recap in my voice and it puts it in my drafts in Google. So then I go in, I edit it, and I hit send. So now people that have meetings with me, I send them recaps and they're like, oh my God, Janet, this is so helpful. Thank you so much. I'm like, I didn't even hardly do this. So that's nice. So that's some tasks you can build in as a skill. So you could write a skill that says, this is how I like to recap my meetings once you get the notes. Knowledge skills. What's your services and pricing? What are the process steps and FAQs to go through your service? What are your best client results, and build some case studies. I have used AI to build case studies in a document form, as well as infographics about different case studies that it can put together that I can post on my website or in a blog or something like that. Offers and differentiators. So you can build these knowledge skills that it will remember, so that if you need to go back and reuse that skill, that knowledge, you can do that. We make a skill for all of our big clients. So that skill sits in Claude, and then I can call it up when we're dealing with that client and say, write a response to this client using this skill, so it will understand the business and know what's important to that business, so I don't say something off. All right, so where do you store and use your skills? So Claude and ChatGPT have two ways to do it. There's the skill MD files you see there in the lower left-hand corner. Any .md file is a skill file. So those are the best ones to create, because you can move those from platform to platform and reuse them without rewriting them. So that's super nice. If we get time, I'll demo how you'd pull one of those skills up. Claude and ChatGPT have projects. So you could just create a project with a client, or a project around inventory. So you could have an inventory project. That way, as you upload documents and things in there, it remembers all of that and keeps that all in that project, and will refer to that over and over every time you chat with that project. You can have one project with 20 chats. So you can keep going back, and that project material and instruction will stay there, and you can use that over and over. So some people rather just do projects. It's easier, it's faster. Some people like the MD files because you can download them and upload them in a new tool. You cannot do that with projects that I know of. We at Future Ready Consulting, we sell Go High Level. So we do have a product called Go High Level. It's a CRM, website, social media, calendar, Calendly type thing. It has AI agents and chatbots. So you can train it so that when clients interact with it, it has a knowledge base and that's how it stores its information in knowledge bases that you can refer to over and over and over. And then you could start with a prompt library that you paste your favorite prompts that worked really well into a Google Doc. If you want to start really slow and easy, start creating Google Docs of your best prompts, and then you will be able to grow from there. And again, I love Notebook LM. You can just put all the information about your brand and you and all that into a Notebook LM, and there is a free version of that. And then you can ask it questions about that information. So that's a great place to start. So I kind of actually went more challenging to less challenging. Notebook LM would be probably the easiest thing to get in, to have all that information in one spot that you can keep using over and over and over. All right, so how do I use my skills library? I'm going to go through this fairly quickly because we got a lot more to talk about. I built a skills library when I realized I was using prompts over and over, uploading the same information. Here's my brand guide. Here's this. I'm like, my God, this is like not saving me a whole lot of time. So now skills that we have in our list of skills, we have a brand voice for Future Ready Consulting. I have created an RFP evaluator. So what that does is if I upload an RFP, it knows all about the projects we like to do and our partners. And it goes through and says, you should apply for this RFP or you should not bother. And it grades it and everything and writes out a recommendation. It's pretty stinking cool. I told a request for proposal. So that is if a business wants to hire another service to do a website redesign, they would write an RFP. Larger companies and state government entities have to write RFPs so that people can compete to get that business. Thank you for that question. Grants. I also throw grants in my RFP evaluator and say, should we go for this grant or not? I already told you about the meeting follow-up thing. That's called a flow in Google. We have a FRC email assistant. If we need to write an email that's pretty formal and needs to sound really crisp and clean, we put our random thoughts into this and it writes a nice, crisp, clean email in our voice. And we can say, who's writing it? Is it me? Is it my business partner? Is it one of our consultants? We put their name and it knows about us and it says, oh, I'm going to write like Janet. I'm going to write like Julie. So it writes in our voice. We have design brief and creative brief template. So if we're going to write a design brief for someone or some kind of creative brief, again, we put rough information in and it'll make it look nice and pretty. And as I said, we keep a skills base or knowledge base for every client so that we don't have to go, what do they call this? And what did they say that? And what do they do this? I don't remember. You just ask it and it'll tell you right away. Any questions about any of that? That was a lot, but if you can get into starting to automate some of this and build knowledge bases either through Notebook LM or skills, your life is going to change.
I have a question. Something you said about for Hope specifically for the accounting part. You said something about don't put your accounting information into ChatGPT but you made it sound like if you put something in there that it's going to become public knowledge, like it's going to go out to everybody that uses this program. So can you just clarify that?
Sure can. So anything you put on the internet, I don't care what it is. I don't care if I type my name into Google search. That is now out there. Somebody knows I did that. It's retrievable data, anything you put on the internet. If you use some of the paid tools, you can go into settings, and you should go into settings and say, do not use this to train the model, which means it's not going to take your info and go out and train the model for other people to use. I highly recommend that. So you need to look at your settings for any of these tools and make sure you're not training the model, because then it's taking all your info and throwing it into the general database of the world. But I live by the belief that even if it says that, if I throw it out on the internet, somebody somewhere might be able to get to it. So bank account numbers, credit card numbers, social security numbers, client information that's not for general public knowledge. You should not be putting that in any of these tools unless you have a professional cybersecurity person working for you, which I do not. So it's just being careful. But if you're putting revenue, income, see how much your sandwich costs with each part of the sandwich, the bun, the meat, that, unless you care somebody were to get that information, then put it in there. Like, who cares? As long as the bank accounts aren't attached and you're not putting, nobody's going to really care about how much you made on this sandwich or that sandwich or this yarn or that yarn. So just think about that. Do I care if this gets out? If you do, don't put it in there. If you don't, like grades and, student information, it has to be closed systems with good security.
Yeah, if you're looking for show me opportunities in my accounting, or show me opportunities to run a sale on this inventory, I've been sitting on it for too long. Those are things that you would want to ask. So it'll give you some opportunities there. Anything proprietary, anything that is very specific to your organization, you should not be putting it on the internet.
That's secretive, or that might make somebody else money. If you're getting ready to patent a certain design and it's out there, watch out. But again, you have to have security anyway, because as soon as it's on your computer or anywhere in the internet, somebody's going to potentially grab it. You just have to weigh those odds. All right, so how can we make AI work more efficiently for us? I'm going to kind of try to rip through this. You want to chain your tools and chain your inputs. So, for example, if you're going to start using, you want to have some kind of output about, you want to have more knowledge about something or about another business or about your business. First, you're going to curate information. That's you, that's the human. You're going to go grab information. You may do some research with AI. I recommend Perplexity for research, or Google Notebook LM will now go out and do targeted research. So you're going to curate. So that's the human in the loop stuff you already have. Then your AI is going to add to that body of work. Perplexity will also give you sightings. Claude does too, but I like Perplexity for research. Then you're going to throw it in ChatGPT, Claude, some other tool potentially, and then it's going to give you output. Do you want a document? Do you want a video? Do you want audio? Do you want an infographic? Depending upon what you want, I would choose a different tool. If I was wanting an infographic, I'd use Gemini. If I wanted a document branded in my colors and looking awesome, I would use Claude. So what we mean about chaining is you might be doing part of this process in one tool and moving it to the next and moving it to the next. If you have 0 tools, pick the one you're going to pay for, probably Claude, and use that one tool. You can use a free version of Perplexity to do your research and then put that result into Claude. AI will power every bit of that, but the output has to sound like you, and you have to agree with it and believe in it. And if you don't do it. You don't need a team to do this. You need a process. So think in terms of processes. So we're going to give you a few quick examples. And I'm trying to watch this time. I knew we were going to be close. Content creation. How do you like to make content? If you like to write, then write. If you like to record a voice, record a voice. If you like to record a webinar, do a webinar. If you like to make a podcast, a video, do that. Then you can use AI. One of the examples is Descript. That's a great AI tool, but you can use any of these others as well. Ask it for captions and transcript. Then you can use another tool to chop it all up into pieces, or you can use Claude. Opus Clip will, for example, for us, it's going to take this video, it's going to chop it up into social clips that then we're going to put online. that point back to this main webinar. Then you can have another tool take all of that and tell it to create some emails you send out as a campaign. It could be a campaign, a blog post, whatever. So now you've created one video that you did. You, Lindsay and I did this. We own this content. We had AI support us, but we're the ones that decided what to talk about today. And now we have a whole bunch of content. We could do LinkedIn articles. We could do blog posts. We could do probably 30 days of content just on this one webinar that was produced with the help of AI. So that is an example of kind of chaining your tools. Another example, inquiry comes into your CRM, and CRMs have done this for a while now, but now you have, at least the CRM I use, Go High Level, AI will draft a response. I don't usually use that. I prefer to intervene, but it could do a draft and then you could edit it and then send it out. It sets that contact into your CRM, and then there's a workflow that fires off sequences of emails that either you wrote or you had AI help you write. Just as a quick little personal advertisement, Go High Level's AI is free right now for the rest of the summer. So you can get a 30-day trial if you want to let me know. But if you don't, that's okay too. All of these things can be done in all of these tools. What this replaces is manually writing every response, forgetting to follow up, losing leads in your inbox, and hours of admin each week. That is what Janet doesn't like to do. Research chain. When you scan a competitor industry, that's what Lindsey was talking about. Then you get AI summaries, and you ask it to find key insights. And then your output becomes your talking points moving forward for that service or product that you are selling. That way you can research all of these things, competitor positioning, industry trends, new offer ideas, grant and funding opportunities. You can do this in 10 minutes, 30 minutes. It used to take you a week or two to do this. And many businesses just didn't bother because it was just too much work, even with Google. I think I'm gonna skip, because this is essentially the same thing we just talked about, multimedia. So let's skip through this. It's essentially what I just talked about. All right, here's the gist of today. Using AI is great. I highly recommend you start doing that. Open a chat, ask a question, get an answer, and do basic things, starting with a chat with AI if you haven't already. But when this really becomes powerful and gives you time back in your life is building with AI, creating projects, storing your skills in your account, build a history so it knows more and more about you. Everything picks up where it left off. I find it so interesting that I could have been working on a project 2 days ago and in Claude, I didn't have time to finish it. How many times do those projects hit the floor? You never go back again. They're done. You forgot you were even working on it. Well, now I go back to Claude and go, oh yeah, I was working on that project. Claude will pick up right where you left off. I like to call Claude Claudette, but so it picks up right where you left off, and you can start working on the project again. How many employees have you had that you go, hey, remember that thing I was talking to you about 3 days ago? And they go, no. Can we review that? Like, no, I don't remember what we were talking about. And then you have to review it. Claude, nope, ready to go. Just start again. Just start moving forward. You can even ask Claude, where were we with this project? And it will most likely say, remember we were doing this. So that's pretty fun. So one side, using AI is a shortcut. Great, not doubting it. But if you really want to get some leverage, build some infrastructure with your AI. Then it becomes yours. It's not just everybody's general AI. It's yours. Yours. This is what we talked about, projects. Load your projects. You pick up with where you left off. You can have the skills library that knows your voice. You can have brand content, so it knows your brand. You can have work history, so it knows the type of work you like to do and how you like to do it. You can do this in Cloud projects, ChatGPT projects, and Go high level workflows. It keeps an eye on all of your work, and you just go right back to what you were doing. So here's 4 projects you could build this month. You could do a marketing project. Teach it all about your marketing. You can even load your YouTube statistics, your Meta statistics. You can load all of that into one of the tools, ChatGPT, Claude. Put it all in there. Put your brand voice in there, and say, hey, tell me how I'm doing in my marketing. You can put your ads. If you're doing ads, put all that data in there, and then say, what do you suggest I do? How do you think I can move forward? You can put your Google business profile information in there. If you have Google Analytics, you can put that in there, and it will tell you your next move. Operations. If you have SOPs and processes, FAQs, meeting summaries, templates, it can be your operator, so that when you have to do a report, when I hated it in higher education, we had to do an annual report. Oh my gosh, if I'd had AI, I wouldn't have had to take 5 minutes instead of 3 weeks. It will do a summary of everything you've been doing with that client, with that business. You can have client communications project, onboarding emails, follow-up sequences, testimonial requests, have it write all of those for you, and then put it into your CRM. And then you can look at open rates and put that in and say, hey, nobody's opening my testimonial request. Do you have a suggestion to improve the open rate? Well, yes, I do. Here you go. And then you can try that. Growth projects. If you're wanting to grow, look at your competitors, do some market scans, ask it what the next new development might be. We know Hope is on here, so I hope I'm going to use you as an example again. So Yarn Hub, things are cooking along. She's liking everything. She could put all the schedule of everything she's doing, what she's selling, into the project, and then say, hey, give me some guidance on what you think the next project I should work on. Should I do new classes? Should I do a new product line? Should I and you can have a conversation about, you may not like its ideas, or usually it'll give you 3 or 4 and you go, I like number 1. Tell me more about that. So that's an opportunity. It'll go out and look for grants for you. Every Friday I have I have 2 things. Perplexity and ChatGPT dump a pile of links of grants in my inbox that I go through and to see if those are any good opportunities. It knows the partners I'm looking for. It knows the kind of projects we like to do, and it goes and looks for me. I don't have time to do that. So that's 4 projects you could build this month, or 1 a month, going into the future, and see how that goes. Even if you did 1, that would be amazing. That would be so amazing. Any more questions yet, Lindsey?
No.
I know I'm just firing a fire hose at you now, but you're not just saving time today. When you build these projects and skills, you're building a system for your future team, for your VAs, for partners that you don't even know you're going to have. You might get a partner and you want to teach them about your business. This will help you do that super fast. You're building an infrastructure. You may sell your business one day. I believe that businesses that have created these skills and these projects could sell those along with the business, and a business would be thrilled. Someone would be thrilled to obtain a business that already has this infrastructure already put together. So we want you to leave today with a plan. We are going to have a download. We're going to have an AI starter checklist for those of you that registered. That will get sent to you in the next day or 2. You'll get a recap and a link to the presentation, as well as this AI starter checklist. It just gives you some starting points to walk through. I don't know, Lindsey, it is in the notes on this slide, I believe. So if you want to put that in the chat, I believe that link is in the notes. If you want to book a call with us, that would be great. Lindsey and I will give you 30 minutes for a free audit call, AI audit call. If you want to say, here's where I'm at, what's my next move with AI, we'd be happy to talk with you about that. So go to our websites. We both have abilities to book at our websites, and it's also in my signature if you get an email from me. So that's cool. All right. I think we made it. I think we're done. Hopefully this brought you a lot of value. You can reach out to us at futurereadyconsulting.org or notsosmallbusiness.com. And we so much appreciate you being here, whether you're here live or whether you're here watching the recording. Please go ahead and subscribe to the channel, because we do one of these every couple months or so, and you'll be able to see more recordings or look at our past ones. We got some good ones up there. Lindsey, you got anything else to bring?
No, thank everyone for being here, and have a wonderful Tuesday.
All right. Or whatever day you're watching this.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Let me get out of this so we can just see all of your faces here. Well, we can't see your faces, but.
All right, Janet, thank you.
All right. Thank you, guys. Take care.